Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at some fantastic news stories which have made me very happy indeed. Now, first of all, we need to give a little bit of an update. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, the other day I told you there was a vote happening in Japan. And essentially, what it was trying to decide the best coin, because the best coin would end up being reprinted. Now, it actually turns out the top 5 coins are going to be released in new versions around the spring of 2022, and they might differ slightly, it says, but I'm sure it will be fine. So, of course, what ended up winning? Here were all of the coins that were up for vote. And I told you at the time, and go and check the video. I told you that the one that was going to win was going to be Chansey Coin, and I told you there wasn't really much of competition here. Because obviously, there's only really one iconic coin in the history of the Pokemon TCG. It's the Chansey Coin. I'm not saying the other coins aren't good or pretty or any of that. I am, however, telling you that none of the other coins are iconic in the way that the Chansey Coin is iconic. Well, wonderful, wonderful news. I mean, obviously, that's the way it happened, right? It was always going to be the Chansey Coin. Sorry. Don't want to burst anyone's bubble there, but there was never really any chance it was going to be anything other than Chansey. Didn't mean to do that. So the Chansey Coin went and won, and the Chansey Coin is going to be reprinted. Nobody should be even the least bit surprised, like I've said. I mean, if you were playing around the beginning of the Pokemon TCG, you would have opened a bunch of these Chansey Coins, and if you get the original ones, the ones from back in the base set days, they are not even close to being evenly weighted. Like, not even close. If you can find one of them, it's kind of fun to check and to have a play around and all of that. But to be clear, they are not even coins. And as a side note, for anyone that doesn't know, any coins that were made before the Pokemon Company, or what is now the Pokemon Company, took over from Wizards of the Coast making the game, they're not legal because they're basically weighted. And to be fair, like, we all knew Chansey was going to win because, you know, there's even that set being released in Japan where you get 4 packs of the 25th anniversary collection, one of the promo packs, and a Chansey coin. Like, they knew what they were doing. When they included that coin, I wouldn't be surprised if they just put it into production because they're like, yeah, it's definitely going to win. But the good news is there are 4 runners-up that are also going to be released in spring 2022, so it's not just the Chansey Coin. And what I like is rather than just giving us all 4 as like, hey, these are going to be released, they've actually gone and told us what place they finished in so we can see exactly what won. So in second place, we got ourselves the Eevee coin. And that shouldn't really surprise anyone. There's nothing in terms of playability with these coins. It's basically just a popularity contest outside of Chansey. Chansey's never going to win a popularity contest, but the Chansey coin is different. And then in at number 3, we had Gardevoir, which again shouldn't really surprise anyone. Gardevoir's fantastically popular. In at number 4, Blackie and Darkrai. That is Umbreon and Darkrai. And I love that it matches the Umbreon and Darkrai card. But it's Umbreon, who's very popular, and then, you know, it's going to bring in some Darkrai fans as well, so that again makes absolutely perfect sense. So everyone loves Umbreon. Umbreon comes in at number 4, and Darkrai's along for the ride, and I'm sorry if that sounds mean, Umbreon is what got this to number 4. And then in at number 5, we've got Mew, because Mew is again very, very popular. Now at this stage, some of you might be thinking, well, hang on a second, Wassy. What about Charizard? Charizard's a really popular Pokemon. How did Charizard not make the top 5? And the answer essentially is that we had the Garchomp and Charizard coin, and then we had the 2 Charizard coins on their own, and essentially they would have split the vote. I don't know for a fact, I can't tell you for absolute certain, but I would be very, very surprised if that wasn't the case here. Essentially, they just ended up splitting the vote because there were multiples of them. And unfortunately, yeah, that's just the way it goes. The one that really surprises me, Pikachu. There was only one Pikachu coin, so there's no vote splitting going on here. And yet somehow the Pikachu coin didn't make the top 5. And I don't really know why that is. Maybe it's because it was more competitive players that voted and they're not quite so into Pikachu as others. But then Eevee ended up getting second place, and Eevee's not really a competitive Pokemon, it's just popular. So the one that surprises me is the lack of the Pikachu coin in the top 5. I don't really have much of an explanation for that. Because, yeah, sure, Eevee and Gardevoir and Mew and Umbreon are all popular Pokemon, but you know what? So's Pikachu. And Charizard was never going to win having 3 different coins splitting the vote. But I am a bit surprised about Pikachu. Want to hear something else that's really cool? Over in Japan, they are making the Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon cards available again. Now, these have currently been made available in 2 different ways. Don't get excited. One way in which they've been made available is that you had to go and fill in a report of a Pokemon TCG game you played on the website in Japan, linked to your Japanese player account, and then they would pick 3,000 winners. There was also a Twitter competition to pick a single winner to get a set of 3, which I tried entering and shockingly didn't win. Yeah, who could possibly have foreseen that? Well, now they are being made available again, and essentially what you have to do is guess the winner of the Champions League in Fukuoka. And I apologise for the pronunciation there. Now, it's only Masters League, and essentially what you do, there is a little website, and you have to be following Ponyta Ishii on Twitter, and you go on, and you find the deck that you think is going to win the Champions League, and you go and vote. Now, you need to give your Twitter account, and you need to be a Japanese resident, so I don't know for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised if they would check your Twitter to see if you're Japanese or not, and then potentially take some people out. I don't know, that's just speculation, but they're not sending these outside of Japan, so if you're not Japanese, don't try entering, because you're not going to win, because you're not in Japan. But the point is, I just love the idea of this. The other thing is, what happens if some weird rogue deck goes and wins the Champions League? Are there then no winners? And what's really cool is they have given a finite list. So we can go on and take a little bit of a look. And there is literally a finite list of decks that they are essentially saying has a chance or have a chance of winning this tournament. So as we go through, we've got the classic ones there. Shadow Rider Calyrex, Eternatus, Suicune, Ice Rider Calyrex. Remember, Japan haven't rotated yet. So you've got a couple of ADP variants there. We've got Mewtwo and Mew. We got 2 different Rayquaza variants, Fire and Lightning. Given that they both have to play Fire and Lightning, that could get a little awkward. Sure, there'll be some properly Fire decks. Sure, there'll be some properly Lightning. What happens if it is a mixture of a proper mixed Fire and Lightning deck that wins? Probably won't be, but that's kind of interesting. And then you've got your single and your Rapid Strike Urshifu. But then you've got newer things like Eevee VMAXs on the list, which of course is out now in Japan. And you've got some weirder ones there. Malamar, and I think we can all thank Antoine Boulet for getting that on the list. We've got Vikavolt. Now remember, I know that Vikavolt doesn't look great, but I did tell you the other day, over in Japan, that Charger Bug is still legal because they haven't rotated. So you can attach Charger Bug and Twin Energy and hit 200 anywhere on your opponent's field in one go. So that Vikavolt is legit in Japan. It's just not over here since we rotated. And then having a look at the second lot of decks there's lots of the same. There's some roguey stuff like Salazzle Butterfree and Blissey. There's Chandelure and Greedent from the new set coming up there. They are really trying to make sure they capture everyone here. When they're starting to list decks like Blissey and Chandelure, which are not that hyped from the new set, along with stuff like Salazzle Butterfree, they are really trying to cover their bases. They have basically gone and given us 30 decks. I think it's exactly 30 decks. I think we've got 7 4s and a 2 hanging over. So there are 30 different decks there that could potentially go and win. I really want to know what happens if one of the decks that isn't on that list ends up taking home the whole tournament. But I do very much appreciate that they are running this competition, and I love it. You get to go and try and predict what's going to win, and then you can potentially win those cards that are, incidentally, super hyper rare and borderline impossible to get hold of. So it's not just a prize, that is a prize that is really, really worth having. And annoyingly, back when I used to do my podcast regularly, there was a run of like 3-4 years in a row where I was predicting all of the big tournaments and what would win. I need to go back to that kind of wassy and predict this and win, and then live in Japan. That'd be cool. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the winner of the coin competition, and we've got this brilliant competition to try and guess the winner and win some Eevees. They're fun stories that I like talking about, and I've now been able to share them with you, and I am delighted. But now it's over to you guys. I want to know what you think about these stories. I want to know which coin you think should have won, and I want to know which deck you think is going to win that Champions League. So go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.